to ESPN's Capital One Bowl Week. Today, it's the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl as the Ole Miss Rebels out of the SEC take on the ACC's Georgia Tech Yellowjackets on the banks of the Cumberland River. A couple of teams that can score in bunches, but do it in different ways. The Ole Miss Rebels rewrote the school offensive record book this year on their way to their first 7-win regular season since 2009. Nail-biting wins over Vanderbilt and LSU propelling Ole Miss to their second straight bowl game. Georgia Tech is playing in their 17th consecutive bowl game, the second longest active streak in the nation. The diminutive Robert Godhigh providing the flash and dash for the crew from Atlanta, leading the Jackets and their triple option offense to yet another top 5 season in rush yards. As the Jackets get ready to take the field here in Nashville, bound and determined. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Brock Eward. Jessica Mendoza down to the field. She'll be joining us in just a bit. Brock, when these two teams look in the mirror, they see a reflection of themselves, both starting off with 3-game winning streaks, followed by 3-game losing streaks, then scrambling to the end to finish up with 7 wins, both losing to their heated rivals. But what makes us believe today that Georgia Tech has a chance to bounce back and win?
Yeah, one of the differences besides just the style of play is the fact that Georgia Tech's going to start 11 seniors, and the guy that really makes them go and who is a pleasure to watch and you're going to enjoy over the next 3 hours is All-American defensive end Jeremiah Atalchu. The guy is relentless in his effort, and I have the utmost respect for pass rushers that will do more, Mark, than just seek their own sacks. He will play the run equally hard. He sets the tone for everybody else, and when you're coming off a tough double overtime loss to your rival Georgia, and you're one of 11 seniors, I think there's a tremendous sense of urgency to get that taste out of your mouth.
Mississippi quarterback Bo Wallace certainly going to have him on the scope today. Meanwhile, speaking of the Rebels, you look at their roster littered with all freshman SEC members and a couple of freshman All-America team members as well. Their future certainly looks bright. How important is this game, though, in the big picture for Mississippi?
Well, in the big picture and in the sales pitch, I think it means more to Ole Miss. We asked Paul Johnson, the head coach of Georgia Tech, point blank, how much does this game affect your recruiting? And he said, frankly, not very much for the kids that we recruit. For Ole Miss on the other side, when you're in head-to-head battles with Alabama and Auburn, and you're Hugh Freeze, and you put together a top 5 recruiting class a year ago, you know what you can't have going into January and February? A 3-game losing streak and a 7-6 record. So imperative that these freshmen that you referenced, that they have the same sense of urgency that Georgia Tech will have on the other side.
Trying to expunge the memory of that loss to Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on their minds, but they are first facing some adversity today with some personnel issues. For more on that, downstairs to Jessica Mendoza.
Well, and Mark, what's been the case for Ole Miss all season long is they've been missing big players and key moments. This bowl game is no exception. Offensively, they will be without their freshman left tackle, Laramie Tunzel, who has a partial tear to his MCL. Their senior running back, Jeff Scott, had to fly home to visit a very ill mother. And wide receiver, Jamez Logan, was sent home because of academic reasons. Now, defensively, just an hour ago, Hugh Freeze told me they will not be starting because of disciplinary reasons. Their star safety, Cody Pruitt, their star freshman defensive tackle, Robert Kimdichie, and also their linebacker, Denzel Kimdichie. He did tell me, however, that they will see some time starting in the second quarter. Now, Brock, this is a long laundry list of injuries and missing players. How much is this going to affect them on the field?
It sure is, Jess, and I think the biggest effect is offensively because they're going to have to score some points today. I don't think you're going to shut down this Georgia Tech crew and the way they run the ball, man-to-man and matchup to matchup. And the fact that you're without Scott, you're without Logan, you're without some of your offensive firepower that Bo Wallace and the rest of this offense needs to really threaten Georgia Tech in a 2-dimensional way, I think that's where you could feel its biggest impact.
Ole Miss winning the toss, electing to receive to start the game. And back deep, that's Jalen Walton, who will be the starting tailback today for the Rebels in the absence of Jeff Scott. The 16th edition of the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl underway. And Walton is going to take a knee. He'll start 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. And that's where Bo Wallace, the starting quarterback, will take the reins of this offense, completing 64% of his passes on the season. On the cusp, on the verge of eclipsing Eli Manning's school records for total yards and pass completions in a season. That says something about how prolific he's been.
Told me yesterday he's about 75%. Hugh Freeze admitted that arm, well, it became weakened as the season evolved. 3 interceptions against Mississippi State. He really wants to get that game out of his mind.
They break the huddle quick and snap it and hand it off on first down. That's Jalen Walton, who's averaging almost 5 yards a carry on the season. Picks up a yard on the play. And there's a look at the numbers that kind of back up the theory that his offense, his arm in particular, weakened towards the end of the season.
In Missouri and Mississippi State, a couple good defenses. They played a role in that as well. The loss of Laramie Tunsil, the All-American left tackle you see right there, didn't help either.
A true freshman on the sidelines today. That pass complete. Number 17, Evan Ingram, who's back after missing time almost 2 months with a broken leg. So a good sign that he's able to go today.
The one thing that you have seen really in the last couple weeks is people start to sit on those underneath routes. When your arm is limited, as Bo said, his downfield game is not what it used to be. Well, they're going to force him to have to throw it a little bit more vertically. We'll see if that arm can respond this afternoon.
3rd and about 6 to go. Wallace pulls the trigger. The pass complete for the first down. Boy, great catch by the junior Dante Moncrief, the All-SEC selection.
This is the biggest advantage, Mark, I'm sorry, that they face today in an up-tempo scheme. Dante Moncrief, Laquan Treadwell, big receivers, 6'3" receivers on much smaller cornerbacks. Watch that matchup all day.
He's handed off. Great burst up the middle by Mathers. And Mathers got 8. 2nd down and 2. Remember, we showed you Laramie Tunsil, the true freshman All-American, on the sidelines today. Wallace fires another dart complete to Moncrief. And this offense is sizzling here in the early going, Brock.
Well, these corners, they know that they can't run step to step with a Moncrief or a Treadwell. They're giving up these easy completions, letting this offense get in rhythm.
Wallace, another strike, another catch. This time to the other side. That's Core with the catch.
Yeah, Cody is a true sophomore. He's actually played both offense and defense. He's on the field partly because Logan's been sent home.
2nd down and 6. Mathers on the handoff. And not much room at all. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Mathers ran for 505 yards today. They pretty much did it by committee. Scott ran for close to 500, as did Walton.
I would expect to see a little press coverage here from Ted Roof's defense. It's one thing to play with cushion on early downs. 3rd and 5, come up and press them and make them earn it.
They've hit the Yellowjackets with a bunch of quick drops and early releases.
Yeah, this is going to be man-to-man. Hugh Freeze checks to a man-beater route.
11th play of the drive for the Rebels. Out of the backfield and incomplete. And it's 4th down and 5 coming up. That intended for Walton. Atalchu out there in coverage.
And that's one of the things he's capable of doing. You expect him to rush the passer with 12 sacks. Well, not so fast. He actually goes out and covers that swing route. That ball's got to go in a different direction for Wallace as the Rebels will go for it on 4th down.
Instead of a 45-yard field goal, they're going to go for it. 52% on the season on 4th downs. They are well within Andrew Ritter's field goal range, who can connect from as far out as 55. 4th down, complete. And right at that marker, the spot is going to give him the 1st down. Walton going high for the catch.
Yeah, and that's a play that Lewis Young, the cornerback, he has got to come up and press a running back. You just cannot give cushion on 4th and 6 to a running back on a simple hitch route. But credit Ole Miss for getting the conversion. And here's a package you're going to see today. Barry Brunetti's going to come in much more the running threat within this scheme.
It's not unusual to see him at this part of the game. Brunetti hands it off, though, to Walton. And Walton sprinting forward for about 6 yards. Opening drive of the ball game for Ole Miss. They've taken it from the 25 all the way down now to the 17-yard line. Brunetti hands it off again. Nowhere to go for Walton. It'll be 3rd down coming up. Been a bunch of nickel and dime stuff. Do they take a shot here?
No, you keep taking
You keep it?
you keep taking what they give you. The crumbs lead to the cookie, as my old coordinator Tom Moore used to say. And if they're going to give you some of that soft cushion, you have got to take it.
Bo Wallace coming back into the ball game for Ole Miss.
But you're also going to see some man-to-man. That is what you have seen on the last 2 of these situations.
Treadwell split to the bottom of your screen. Wallace is going to run it. And he's got a lane and then some. Touchdown, Bo Wallace. His 5th rushing touchdown of the season, capping a methodical, rhythmic, machine-like opening drive, an impressive one for Ole Miss.
15 plays, and when you're playing a Georgia Tech crew that loves to run it and loves to possess the ball, getting up early, hugely instrumental in most teams' success against Georgia Tech.
With all those missing pieces, Brock Eward, it really didn't matter that much on that opening drive. The former Arkansas State transfer gives Mississippi the lead. Bo knows. The Ramblin' Wreck making the trek about 4 hours plus from Atlanta. I'm sure he didn't get clocked for speeding.
I'm sure he was frozen in that back seat.
Nothing wrong with a drop top on a 40-degree day here in Nashville. But a pretty impressive opening drive by their opponents. Ole Miss leading 7-0, a 15-play, 75-yard drive, using up 4:45 on the clock. Sims and Thomas back deep. That's going to be David Sims, and Sims upended as he crossed the 25-yard line. David Sims in the backfield. Lee throws it incomplete on first down, intended for Michael Summers.
I think you see why he completes 47% of his passes.
And there's a look at the most prolific member of that offensive unit for Georgia Tech, Robert Godhide, 5'7", but his height eclipsed by his productivity.
I think 5'7" in the helmet, the former walk-on, is just so much fun to watch, both in run and pass. He is their big play threat offensively.
Hyde is one of their leading receivers, and nowhere to go for Lee as the land shark bit him. Tony Connor.
True freshman difference maker. Kindichi gets all the conversation. Laramie Tunzel as well. But this kid was all freshman SEC and a sure tackler. The 3rd leading tackler, going to be in Oxford for a long time.
3rd and long. And on 3rd and long situations, this is the team whose tendency in a big way is to pass on 3rd and 5, and that's what they do. Wide open, complete to Days, and Days with a first down out by the 43. Sinjin Days with the catch.
Boy, I don't like that call. I've got a lot of respect for Dave Womack, the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, and he knows Georgia Tech as well as anybody. Coordinated the defense for 2 years under Paul Johnson, but an offense that struggles to throw efficiently in the passing game, to bring a blitz like that, a corner blitz, and leave the middle of the field that open for this passing offense. I don't think that's ideal on 3rd and 10.
That completion right around their average when they do throw the football. This is David Sims. Sims ran for 846 yards during the season, picked up 2 there. Earned all ACC honorable mention this year. Georgia Tech's triple option system in effect since Paul Johnson came on campus in Atlanta. Georgia Tech, 2nd down and 7.
No one in the last 6 years has run for more yards in this outfit.
The toss. There he is, Godhigh. Another first down inside the 40. Down to the 39-yard line.
You have got to make Georgia Tech, in my opinion, earn it in the passing game. They try to bring a blitz, they don't get home, and now you're seeing the strength of this crew, and it's running it between the tackles, it's getting out on the edge. This is exactly what Georgia Tech needed to respond.
Exactly. And a play fake. Lee throws it out of bounds, out of harm's way. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up. It was interesting in speaking with some of the players for Mississippi coming into this one, especially Sindarius Bryant, number 14, their linebacker. He said in preparations for this game, this hitting everybody, tackling pretty much every back on every play to get used to this, to get acclimated, Brock.
Like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Tackle everyone.
Second down and 10. Lee pivots and runs to the field side and picks up the first down. Actually, they're going to mark it just shy of that first down marker. It'll be 3rd and short.
Third leading rusher on this team, over 1,000 in his career for Georgia Tech. He's not the blazer that the backup Justin Thomas is. But as Paul Johnson told us yesterday, he's very comfortable in Vad's development. Feels like this game will not overwhelm him. There's no situation now with this starting experience that he's not seen, and he is fully capable when given a lane to make you pay.
3rd and 1 for Georgia Tech. And they pick up the first down using David Sims. Yeah, back to Vad Lee. Paul Johnson said that he may have played his best game of the season in that loss, that overtime loss against Georgia.
Well, he did throwing it over 230 yards and a couple touchdowns, but look here, just look at this initial surge right between the guards. No chance. I mean, you're just, if you cannot be stout at the point of attack, you will not stop this offense.
And that's not a huge offensive line for Georgia Tech either.
But it's a veteran offensive line.
The toss. Got high. Still on his feet and fighting, lunging for an extra yard. Tackled by Golson on the play. Might have picked up 6.
This is a really good play from Sinquez, the baseball player that defeats the block with his hands. And if you're going to tackle this guy today, I mean, you talk 5'7", he's not 5'7", and he is powerfully built, got high. That's the way that you're going to have to tackle him. You cannot go high. He shed so many tackles, and you saw it on his initial run. If you're going to try to go above the waist, you have got to get that guy and hold on for dear life at times for the rest of your buddies.
2nd and 5. The toss. Got high. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. And on good behavior, giving the ball to the official. His 7th rushing touchdown of the season, the 11th of his career, and each team scoring on their respective opening drives to start this ball game. Just under 4.5 minutes to go. Butker with the extra point just inside that right upright. So Georgia Tech answers with a 14-play, 74-yard drive using 5:44 on the clock. Diminutive, dynamic, the one, and we're tied at 7. A look at some of the festivities last time as part of this Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. The Battle of the Bands, I think, was officially declared a draw last night, although Georgia Tech, we're told by Mississippi's Sindarius that they won the chicken wing eating contest, right? Wasn't that it? Here's Walton on the return. Wow. Walton fumbles it, and they've got 97 yards to go coming back the other way. Brunetti, number 2 quarterback, getting the snap here out of the end zone. Little fly sweep action to Walton, and Walton picked up about 4 on the play. Bo Wallace starting the series on the sidelines. He had off-season shoulder surgery back in January, so he didn't have the benefit of going through spring ball and didn't get an opportunity to do all the rehab and strengthening exercises that he's going to do after this season ends.
And this offense functions best when the ball's out of his hand anyway.
Wallace hands it off again. Nice hold. That time it was Mathers. And Mathers picks up the first down with a gain of 9 on the play. And that's going to end the first quarter of play. Each team scoring a touchdown on their opening drives respectively. Welcome back, everyone, to Nashville, Tennessee, and the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. We haven't called Laquan Treadwell's name that much today. This one over the middle. Complete. That's Holder again. And another first down out to the 31 and 11-yard game. There's a look at the freshman All-American.
Yeah, and I don't think that's by scheme on either side. Obviously, Ole Miss would love to get the SEC Freshman of the Year involved, but they distribute the ball to wherever the read goes, and right now it's just taking them away from Treadwell.
They set up this middle screen and nowhere to go after the catch for Jalen Walton. They might lose a few yards on the play. It's interesting, when speaking with some of the players, we're told that it was Laquan Treadwell who's the most vocal in coming back to the huddle and saying, hey, I'm open. Bo, you got me. You got me.
Yeah, there's one thing about 4- and 5-star guys like Tunzel, Kimdichie, Treadwell. They're just grown men. I mean, look at him physically. You would never imagine that he's a true freshman playing high school football 1 year ago.
Wallace under duress, flushed out, and wisely throws it away with nowhere to go. He did have Walton in the vicinity, so it sets up a 3rd down and 14. Haven't seen him throw it deep or take a shot yet today.
No, but been very efficient. He's been clutch there on 3rd down, the completion to Walton on 4th down, and for the first time he called a Tauchu, making his presence known on that last rush.
Wallace rolling out. Brought down short of the first down at the 30 by Tauchu. There he is again. And on another play, and they'll have to punt it.
Well, you've seen both sides. One negative play in the early downs really puts them behind the chains. I think that will continue to be a theme. Defensive coordinators talk about it all the time. We got to get our opponent off schedule. But with both of these teams, with the short passing game of Ole Miss and the Georgia Tech style, any negative play is going to really benefit the defense.
Great punt by Campbell over the head of Smelter, and they're going to down this one inside the 5. Wow. A line drive spiraling punt by Campbell. 67 yards at all. Anything in the air that long should have a movie on it. Back with more after this. A look at the Rebels pep rally a little bit earlier today. Downtown Nashville area.
Traveled well. Yeah, both fan bases.
It's about a four-hour drive from each school's destination. David Sims in the backfield. Gain of 2 on the play. Georgia Tech, going back to 2008, has rushed for more yards than any other team in the FBS.
You know, and they do it with the triple option. There's no doubt about that. But you've also seen the toss crack today. You've seen the quick pitch and the sweep, and in so many different ways. Your eyes in today's college football is used to seeing bubble screens, as you hear some miscommunication there from Paul Johnson to his staff with some of the personnel. But don't just pigeonhole them as being just one offense. There is some multiplicity within which they run.
Got high on the toss. Not sure that he even got back to the line of scrimmage. Shackelford with a stop on the play.
And there's your negative play that again puts him behind the chains. And there's a little bit of the speed and athleticism of 5 Kimdichie that he's in the backfield. That first quarter, that 16-play drive, we showed you really no penetration in the surge that Georgia Tech had between the tackles. And now you put Georgia Tech in a tendency where they throw it 80% of the time, 3rd and 5+.
Justin Thomas in a quarterback, taking the direct snap, and he couldn't do it himself. Brought down to the 6, a gain of 1, and now the Yellowjackets will have to punt in the shadows of their own goalposts, and the Rebels should get decent field position here. Interesting that after opening drives in which both teams scored rather impressively, it's been a situation where both teams have stalled offensively.
Probably not a shock. because no matter what you try to do to simulate on both sides of the ball, very difficult to do. You've got to get a feel for the rhythm and tempo of Ole Miss offensively and the style for Georgia Tech. Both defenses settling in.
Poole with a rugby-style rollout punt, a line drive to Holder. Back at the 47, a couple of nice moves by Holder, and finally sliced down at the 38-yard line, but a nice return for the Rebels, a 47-yard punt and 15 on the return. Wallace back in the ball game, incomplete at the 27-yard line, and we have still yet to hear from their big gun receivers, Treadwell and Moncrief. That one was intended for Moore.
Part of that's play a pretty good defense here, especially at the line of scrimmage. Only 3 other teams in all of college football were able to do what Georgia Tech and Ted Roof did this year. And that's play the run and run the ball on the other side equally well.
3rd and long. Wallace comes underneath to Mathers. And Mathers makes it down to the 27-yard line. A great lunge. Let's see where they spot this, if they give him the first down or not. It's going to be real close. Boy, that's going to be a matter of inches, one way or the other. 4th down coming up. Actually, 1st down, they give it to him. Wallace, Moncrief with the catch, and 1st and goal for the Rebels. Touchdown! They gave it to him. Moncrief must have gotten those toes inside the pylon. Boy, that's close. And for Moncrief, that's his 6th touchdown of the season and the 20th of his career.
And Wallace has run for one. He's thrown for one. He told us yesterday numerous times, I want to get that Egg Bowl out of my mind. A bad memory, 3 interceptions, a late fumble in overtime. And that's a good way to turn it around, to get into rhythm yourself and put a couple scores on the board.
Blocked. Ritter's extra point is blocked, and they can return it. Still loose. And the margin stays at 6. A displeased looking head coach, Hugh Freeze. We're going to take a timeout and come back on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, to the 16th edition of the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. Ole Miss leading 13-7 over Georgia Tech after that blocked extra point. Newsmer was the Rebel player shaken up. Jamia Thomas back for this kickoff. Thomas decides to run it out. Has an alley. Still on his feet. And finally brought down at the 29-yard line. Working out of the shotgun. Trying to take off and sack back at the 12. With 32, now 31 seconds to go in the half. Kimdichie, Robert Kimdichie making the stop. Had some company there too.
Second charge timeout. Ole Miss, 30 seconds.
Well, here you see the explosion mark of a Kimdichie right there. Georgia Tech is not equipped to pass block. You've already seen that. Shaquille Mason, 70, first team all ACC because of his run blocking. And you start to get into these situations either before half or where you've got to throw it. That's going to be a big problem blocking Kimdichie. Dave Womack, the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss. I don't think you can point this out enough. Spent 2 years on this staff with Paul Johnson. And he knows this scheme very, very well. Told us such an advantage to have 450+ reps of bowl preparation instead of about 50 team reps you normally get in a week. to get ready for this offense, and Ole Miss has settled in defensively.
Brad Lee brought down short of the first down at the 14, and fourth down coming up now with 25 seconds to go.
Final. Church timeout.
And the Rebels are going to burn another timeout and try and make something happen here. Sean Poole, a high spiral that comes down to Holder at midfield at about the 49-yard line with 18 seconds to go in the first half, a 37-yard punt. Let's see what Bo Wallace or Barry Brunetti can do with those 18 seconds left.
Well, I have got to get Moncrief or Treadwell, my two big receivers. You like the matchup coming into this game. Co-offensive coordinator Dan Werner, Hugh Freeze talking to us about that. I've got to find a way to get them in a one-on-one, to get my kicker in the field goal range so he can feel good about himself after some real sloppy efforts here in the first half.
And it's going to be Wallace getting this series of downs, or at least 18 seconds worth. Mathers in the backfield behind him.
Two big receivers at the top of the screen.
Wallace comes underneath, and a nice catch to Adebayo. And Adebayo fighting for every yard with 9 seconds to go. They just got inside field goal range. Going to try and get up and spike it here. No timeouts remaining. And Wallace stops the clock with 6 seconds to go in the half.
Andrew Ritter does have a 52-yard long, but if you're Hugh Freeze and you've watched a missed PAT that was launched at about 8 feet that Gotsis blocks, and then you watch a 2-iron knuckleball into the crossbar, even though he's got the capability of a 52-yarder.
He might not be the most confident kicker right now, thus this decision. Wallace, a flag down, he comes underneath. Complete to Mathers, and time has expired. The margin is only 6 as we go downstairs to Jessica with Coach Freeze.
Well, Coach Bo Wallace told us this week about how frustrated he was ending the regular season the way he did. How do you feel of his performance thus far?
I think he's taking care of the ball well, made some good throws and some good decisions to use his feet at times. And I knew he's a competitor. I knew he'd come out and play hard today. We've got to help him out and finish some red zone drives, but he's played well.
Well, this is the first time you guys have faced the triple option. How well do you feel that your defense has handled it?
I think really well. I knew it was going to take us a little time to adjust to the speed of it. You can't simulate that in practice. I think they've done a good job.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Jessica, Ole Miss leading 13-7 over Georgia Tech at the break as the SEC battles the ACC. Right now we're going to go to John Saunders, Mark May, and Lou Holtz for the halftime report. Guys, and welcome back to ESPN's Capital One Bowl Week. Today it's the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, the 16th chapter of this game as Ole Miss takes on Georgia Tech. The Rebels leading it 13-7 at half. And the Rebels quarterback Bo Wallace making a homecoming of sorts. He's from nearby Pulaski, Tennessee, the former Mr. Tennessee football, Brock Ewart. He said coming into this game to us, I have to play a good game. I don't want our seniors to go out with 3 consecutive losses. He's done his part in the first half.
He played a very clean first half. You heard Hugh Freeze tell Jess Mendoza going in, his decision-making more than anything else. He's the leading rusher in big part because of this touchdown run on the quarterback draw, but he's eliminated the mistakes that really hurt this team down the stretch. And the only shot throw here of 15-plus yards ends up being a touchdown to Moncrief as he puts it on stride. No penalties, tremendous balance, a very efficient quarterback, and yet you're only ahead 6 points here as we begin the second half of play.
They left some points on the field with a missed extra point as well as a missed field goal. This is Thomas for Georgia Tech. And brought down forcefully at the 23-yard line. And let's have a look back with our Buick drive recap. The Yellowjackets with a very impressive opening drive to start the game.
74 yards, 4 for 4 on third down conversions, and it was the inside and the outside. Hard to simulate for Ole Miss, the speed and the tempo with which Georgia Tech got after them. You really did see the complete mix in the run game, but after that, some struggle in early downs, some negative plays. Kim Dichie's force in the middle, and a real struggle.
On the toss, and another nice tackle on St. John days by Cedarius Bryant. He has been sideline to sideline today for the Rebels.
Yeah, this is why they moved him to middle linebacker. Watch him just follow the flow of the play. He could see St. John come in that short motion, and the outside linebacker was put inside so he could track those backs and finish the tackle. The surest tackler on this team, maybe not the hardest hitter, but he's #1 on this team because he doesn't miss in the open field.
Sims in the backfield now, and Lee with nowhere to go, brought down right around the line of scrimmage.
Assignment football, and you heard Ole Miss talk a lot about it yesterday, that we've got to tackle every eligible runner. You've got to take care of that inside run first. There you see Charles Sawyer. He flies up from the secondary. He's on the pitch man. There's nowhere left for Vad Lee to go. And once again, Georgia Tech staring down a third and passing situation. It's been very problematic. Only 2 completions that entire first half.
3rd and 5, Lee gonna pass. Fires a dart. Did he get the feed in? Yes, it's complete. At the 33-yard line to Godhigh. The smallest man on the field with going high here.
Just a little baller, isn't he?
12-yard gain and a first down.
I mean, you think of Georgia Tech through the years and Joe Hamilton and some different looking parts. That, you know what, maybe we're going to have a 5'6" running back. Maybe he doesn't fit in other programs and isn't prototypical, but the guy can really play.
Lee off the play fake, under heat. Throws it away at Godhigh in the vicinity. And after taking a hit
Number 25 was in the area.
from Shackelford, it's kind of nice to see Shackelford give him a little dap and help him up off his backside.
It's a pretty interesting feel to this game, isn't it? As clean as Ole Miss has played, all the balance we talked about, no penalties to this point, no turnovers, and yet you're only up 6. You're one big play away, one God-high run away from Georgia Tech finding a way to take a lead.
2nd and 10, Lee options it into the boundary. Great play fake, great, and he fumbled it. He lost control, and it's recovered by Elston.
It's a fumble. Recovered by Ole Miss. First down.
Rebels football. After such a great fake toss, he ended up losing the ball.
And that's a really good hit there for Mike Hilton, the true sophomore. You taught all the time defensively. You want to have your head and your eyes up, but you also tackle the football. Hilton cuts right through Vad Lee. The rest of that swarming defense, all Rebels there to recover.
1st and 10 from the 44. Wallace comes underneath. A popular refrain today as Mathers makes the catch. A first down for the Rebels after the 13-yard gain.
Take what the defense gives you. And yeah, some of that may be because of the arm troubles. He's not going to force something down the field. But I'll say it again, when is Treadwell going to get a touch?
He split to the bottom of your screen. They hit him right here on the little bubble screen. Pushed out of bounds after another nice gain by the Rebels. So there is one of the few receptions that Treadwell has today. Actually, it's his first for 7 yards.
Leading receiver on the season. Another grown man as a true freshman, 6'3", 215. He's a matchup advantage.
Toss to Mathers. And Mathers pushed out of bounds right near that first down marker, looking at the spot. It appears as if they're going to give him the first down. And now Ole Miss with a little bit of tempo to the offense here. Off the turnover. This all set up by that fumble by Lee. Wallace, Treadwell, his second catch still on his feet. And brought down near the 10-yard line. 6'3", 215 pounds.
It's why you get your best player touches. I mean, typically that's a 6-yard gain for most, but when you're 6'3", 215, top recruit in America receiver, you could do a little something through contact.
Hugh Freeze getting some players. Oxford, Mississippi.
You're going to see he and Treadwell shift around down to the top of the screen.
Wallace keeps it himself. Nice move, touchdown, Rebels. his second rushing touchdown today.
Some poor tackling here in the secondary, going to frustrate Ted Roof there. Corey Carlson, the safety playing for Milton today, is right there to make that tackle at the 5-yard line. But Wallace makes a miss, makes him pay, and contributes to the 3rd touchdown of Ole Miss today.
So the fumble by Vad Lee ends up in a touchdown for Bo Wallace, his 2nd run of the day. Lee, after making a nice ball fake, coughed it up. And the Rebels capitalizing on the turnover. And welcome back, everyone, to Nashville. Georgia Tech trailing the Rambling Wreck down by 13 points. And a point of view of the Rambling Wreck.
A couple rushing touchdowns for Bo Wallace now, 6 on the year. He actually ties Jalen Walton for the team lead. And after that game against Mississippi State, he put his phone away. He deleted all the social media. He said he knew what was coming, rightfully so. When you play this position and you have some marquee wins and you start getting Ole Miss in the right direction, the expectations grow. And when you struggle down the stretch, well, the criticism is going to grow as well. And this is the only way you can turn those fans around, is to go out and produce and play well, which he's doing.
This is Dennis Andrews on the return, and a good return for Andrews. Almost had that ball ripped out from behind, but takes it all the way out to the 48-yard line, giving them good field position. Lee securing that ball this time and running for the 1st down near the 41-yard line.
And that kickoff helped Georgia Tech continue to show the patience that Paul Johnson's going to show. It's all about adjustments. And Ole Miss has taken away that initial dive. They're handling that outside pitch. So what do? Well, now you put the ball in Vad Lee's hands. Let them take away that initial dive and then get him out on the edge. A couple good runs now from your quarterback.
1st down and 10. Godhigh on the toss to the wide side of the field. Nowhere to go. Couldn't get downhill on that Rebel defense, and Mike Hilton brought him down for a loss on the play of 3. And remember, this is an offense, Brock. I mean, right now they're trailing by 13. At what point do you say, hey, that's dangerously close for a triple option team not being able to come back?
Yeah, you get to one more score here and you push into the 4th quarter, it becomes a bit of a challenge. Number 3 in America in time of possession. By no means now, halfway through the 3rd quarter, you go down, you get a touchdown. It's once again a 6-point game, so you play to your strength and your style.
2nd and 13. Lee falling forward to the 40-yard line. You know what I notice about quarterback Vad Lee and quarterbacks in this kind of system? The footwork is intricate. You see the pivoting, the swirling, the turning. It's almost like you need those Arthur Murray dance steps, the footprints out there.
It's all the timing.
How tough is that?
Yeah, it is difficult. I really actually liked what Dave Womack, the D coordinator at Ole Miss, said. We've got 450 reps all of bowl season to get ready for them. They've got 10,000 reps to perform, as you said. Some of those dance moves and choreography and timing with which you got to play in this system.
3rd and 10, looking to throw it. Pass almost picked off. Dangerously close to becoming an interception by Golson. Hung up there a little bit long.
Yeah,
4th down.
He and Hilton are playing good games. That was one of the areas that Georgia Tech wanted to attack, is out there on the perimeter. Golson made a really nice play down in the red zone. He nearly goes pick 6 right there to make this 27-7. But you've seen an excellent swarming effort. Lots of personnel for the Rebels. Playing a bunch of guys tonight, and right now some of their speed and their focus and their intensity has got Georgia Tech's backs against the wall.
This Rebel defense doing a nice job of holding this prolific rushing offense to just 7 points so far. The Kimdichie brothers, a big part of that, Brock. Let's talk about the Kimdichie brothers. One was the #1 recruit in the nation last year, who comes to Ole Miss. You had a brother that played at Washington. What is it like to go through that recruiting process knowing your brother is already at that school? What are the pluses and minuses of that?
No, I think that would only be a plus, and it turned out to be a big plus for Hugh Freeze. And as we understand it now, those two are incredibly close. The family travels a lot, and those two just have an incredible bond. And you're seeing, and it's not a surprise to me to see Robert come out on this stage and play really, really well. And he put together a good, solid freshman year. I don't think it was as spectacular or lived up to some of the hype and attention. Just a couple sacks, but 8 tackles for loss. But he's a guy that is going to springboard in the next season like many of these freshmen, and expectations will be high in Oxford.
2nd and 5 now for the Rebels. Wallace doing a good job running the football today out near the 29-yard line. And this game, as we mentioned at the top of the show, is so vitally important for recruiting purposes for Ole Miss. Freeze telling us his class ranked about number 10 right now. Depending on the publication, Mathers on the run.
Most importantly, in on a number of guys with Alabama, with Auburn, who are going to have primetime stages to play in. And one for a national championship, one for a Sugar Bowl. And 8-5 feels a whole lot different than a 3-game losing streak and 7-6. And Hugh Freeze knows that. That messaging and that sales pitch so critical to closing the deal and recruiting.
2nd and 9. Wallace has a man. Moncrief on the loose. Moncrief lost it. And the Rebels get it back. Good hustle downfield by the freshman Treadwell. But a huge gain nonetheless for Ole Miss.
And Georgia Tech here trying to play some zone defense, trying to play a little cover 2 defense. And unfortunately don't get any real bump on Moncrief. You see that speed that we were talking about, the fastest receiver here for Ole Miss, and we've not seen many shots down the field. Just a second throw of 15+ from Bo Wallace. But like the first one that went for 6, this nearly does as well.
Brunetti now in the ball game, looking to throw it. Out of the backfield, complete to Mathers, and Mathers looks like he just got back to the line of scrimmage on the play, but they were fortunate to recover that fumble by Moncrief. And good hustle downfield by Treadwell, or else it's all white jerseys there, right?
What a heads-up play from the freshman. At this point, 12 starts under your belt, you're no longer a freshman, right?
Yep.
A bowl practice to get ready for this one, but tremendous throw there right into the soft part of that zone. And if you don't get a bump and a press on a big man like Moncrief, and you let him get going on a well-timed throw, and make Georgia Tech pay.
Wallace back in the ball game. Completed 7 of his last 8. Now 8 of 9. Moncrief tiptoes out of bounds about 5 yards short of the first down. And this is the part of the field where Wallace has been an effective runner.
That's right. You see there the single season school record, the mix of run and pass, 6 rushing touchdowns now on the season. And you wonder here with the struggles in the kicking game, if Hugh Freeze as play caller is thinking, I got a couple downs to pick up 5 yards.
3rd down coming up. Walton in the backfield behind Wallace. The record that Wallace just eclipsed was formerly Eli Manning's. Passing incomplete for Treadwell. Off his hand, and 4th and 5 coming up now, and the field goal unit coming in for the Rebels.
And you're going to see Treadwell and Moncrief both to the top of the screen. You're trying to hit that little second level there in the zone coverage. He's settling down. When you're playing zone like that, you're trying to find those little windows. Treadwell settles down. Wallace anticipates him taking another step. You're just off. And here the adventure begins for Ritter.
Been a rough day for him with a blocked extra point. And missed field goal too. This one, though, is true from 29 yards out. And the lead up to 23-7 with 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
Well, now you're getting into danger zone. You asked me earlier, Georgia Tech and their style and the way they play.
It's up to 16 now.
Yeah, you better find a way to get some points on the board on this drive if you're Georgia Tech.
This game once tied at 7 apiece. Ole Miss on a 16-0 run. From the Doma. Melton hit hard at the 15.
Been a reoccurring theme here, hasn't it? Really, since that opening drive. Both special teams, defensively, Ole Miss has hit harder, has played faster, and really has been in complete control over the last 2 quarters of play. The first 7 practices of bowl season, full live tackling, cut drills to get ready for this Georgia Tech offense. And after that initial drive, boy, they've been really good defensively.
Lee down the middle, wide open, got high. Got it, first down and into Rebel territory at the 46. He got in behind Brown. And a nice ball thrown by Vad Lee, too.
And there's the difference. Cody Pruitt, the All-American, 6 picks, much better in coverage. Out of this game, got knocked out earlier. You put Chief Brown into the game and got high. That little 5'6" baller gets inside of Brown, and an excellent throw from Vad Lee at a time where this team really needs it.
Zach Lasky in the backfield. Under 2.5 to go in the third. And after Lasky got a nice hole up the middle. And another first down, a gain of 14 on the play for Georgia Tech.
And that time you just see the eyes, guys. The one thing against this offense, you can't be complacent. I just complimented with the effort and the energy and the speed and force that you played with defensively. It's a couple reps here for Ole Miss, a little bit more flat-footed like they were in that first drive.
Spotting that ball, got high. Stayed on his feet and fell forward to gain a yard on the play. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Georgia Tech and got high with a daunting task ahead, down by 16 points with 12 minutes to go. Back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to Nashville and the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. The Rebels leading the Yellowjackets. Fourth quarter underway. Second down and 9 for Georgia Tech. Lead a pass, backside pressure, and overshoots his receiver. He had his man, Darren Waller, open. And those are the opportunities you have to hit on.
Yeah, he had a couple guys open there, unfortunately, and Vad Lee played his best game against Georgia, 230 passing yards, a couple touchdowns throwing it. But that is just not the strength of this group. And unfortunately, when you're down 23-7, unfortunately, when you're looking at 3rd and 9 and 2nd and long situations, you're playing to the weakness right now of this offense.
We're talking 4-down territory here, right? I mean, you got to go for it?
I think so. Depends on what you gain here, though, on 3rd down.
Lead a pass again, setting up the screen and incomplete. Got high over the middle. They were locked in on him, so now it's 4th and 9.
Yeah, now I think in this situation with such a long distance to gain, and Paul obviously not happy with any of that execution right now, as he gives David Sims, his redshirt senior, an earful trying to set up a screen. Timing off, execution off, and really outside of the opening drive, this offense has just not been able to get going.
Harrison Butker in to attempt this field goal from 38. And he knocks it through to make it a 23-10 game. A displeased head coach, Paul Johnson, looking for some more buttons to press when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Time getting critical for Georgia Tech, trailing by 13. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. Mark Jones alongside Brock Hewitt and Jessica Mendoza down in the field. A critical miss here by the Yellowjackets.
Yeah, and I thought it was a screen. Was not a screen. In the reason Paul Johnson is in the ear of his redshirt senior Sims is he's blocking DeHendron Collins, 185-pound defensive back, turned linebacker for Ole Miss, and he's just getting his tail kicked. And that's really been, from a physical standpoint, a group that prides itself on at least playing hard and not getting beaten that way. That little blitz by Collins been really indicative of what we've seen over the last 3 quarters.
Walton on the return to the 30. First down and 10. Barry Brunetti in the ball game, and Brunetti on the keep. Nice run out near midfield. They've really complemented each other well today, Wallace and Brunetti.
And it's mostly been Wallace on the ground. I thought we would see more of this package, but the success that Bo has had taking care of the football, and we should probably give some credit to Evan Swindoll in that makeshift offensive line against a good front 7. It's given both Wallace, Brunetti, and the backs an opportunity to get started.
There's Mathers, and Mathers going to be brought down for a loss at the 46-yard line. Brock, we've seen a couple of teams this year that have gone with kind of a 2-quarterback system, and it hasn't been quite the model of success as this one has been today. for the Rebels.
Well, I think you've got such a difference in skill set, and both guys know it. I mean, Brunetti knows, as you saw it there, with some of his speed, and Wallace is much better decision maker, especially on a night like this, where he has really not put his team in harm's way at all with his decisions.
Wallace got a man, and it's intercepted. Intended for Moncrief, but he left it short. And that might be the turnover by DJ White that Georgia Tech needs to spark a comeback.
Just when it comes out of my mouth that he has not made a decision to hurt his football team, this is a one-on-one, and you love the matchup. And if this ball is thrown 5 yards out in front, Moncrief's going to go make that. But it's underthrown, and you allow the undersized DJ White the positioning to make that play. That's the first poor decision from Bo Wallace, and it couldn't come at a worse time when you're in control with 13 minutes to go.
Well, he has cut down on his interceptions this year. Through 17 a season ago, down to just 9 this year. That was his 10th.
And that is about his arm, and that is about just the lack of strength that he has in it right now.
Lee looking to take a shot up top. Wide open! Waller! Touchdown Yellowjackets. They're back in it. They got it back in one play. A bowl record 72-yard pass completion by Vad Lee to Darren Waller. His third touchdown catch of the year. And how things can change quickly. It's a 6-point game, and that mixed extra point by Ole Miss looming large right now, coming down the stretch here in the fourth quarter.
You know what else is looming large? The loss of All-American Cody Pruitt. You've got a true freshman on the back end of the defense. He falls down, and Georgia Tech's got all the momentum right here in the building.
I'd like to pop the top on that whip and take it for a little bit of a spin myself.
No, you wouldn't. Look
yes,
at you.
I would.
You got your isotoner gloves on, your overcoat. You couldn't survive in the back seat of that.
I tell you, these guys are warming up, though. Getting hot. Georgia Tech whittling this lead down to 6 now with almost a whole fourth quarter to play. A big turnaround off the interception thrown by Bo Wallace. And that was a career-long reception for Waller and a bowl record as well. Approaching 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Rebels clinging to a 6-point advantage. Wallace back in the game. Given plenty of time and finds his receiver out of the backfield, Mathers. Mathers picks up just enough for the first down at the 39.
And if you're Georgia Tech and you have seen and felt the pain of all those underneath throws, don't you sit a little bit tighter on those checkdowns? Don't you come up and start to press these receivers and make Bo Wallace beat you down the field?
There's Treadwell again with another catch.
I mean, he's hit you twice. He hit the go route to Moncrief versus cover 2 versus a zone situation, and then Moncrief on the touchdown pass on the over. Outside of that, there's been no damage down the field.
Wallace keeps it himself. Bo Wallace picks up another first down. He has done a really good job of running the football today. So they spotted at the 45 and another Rebel first down. Georgia Tech appeared to have trouble getting lined up on that last play.
Tempo.
Wallace again, and slides safely at the 37-yard line. And right now, right at field goal range.
Oh, I think you're going to have to readjust that, though. I think you get in these games. And
well, we came in with that 55-yard range.
Well, because that's what they told us yesterday. But I think you're going to have to get to at least the 20-yard line or so before the head coach is going to feel comfortable.
A reflection of his kicker's shrinking confidence, too. On 2nd and 3. Wallace pulls it out. Incomplete in the end zone, and a flag. intended for Cody Core, and DJ White back there defending on the play.
Pass interference. Defense, number 28. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
An underthrown football here from Wallace. You see Cody Core trying to sell the run blocking. He's got the DB there, beat White by 3 or 4 yards. Does the contact there impede the receiver from making a play?
Right on first down, a gain of about 3 yards.
I mean, he hooks a little bit of that arm, but you're in a situation with 6 minutes to go. I can't reward a poorly thrown football. Unless that contact directly impedes the receiver from making a play, he still gets his hands on the ball. That's a touchy call with under 7 to go.
Wallace hands it off to Mathers. First and goal, Rebels from the 5. A great sprint and a nice move by Mathers, picking up 15. First and goal. Wallace on the fade. Incomplete. Intended for Moncrief. Broken up by DJ White.
They've gone after this one a few times, and once again from Bo, that's got to be the back pylon. Big receiver, small corner. You know, on that deep throw, you can get away with an underthrown pass. As you see Brunetti, the runner, come back in the game, because you can drive pass interference. You get down in the red zone, you'll let your guy make a play for you.
12th play of the drive, second and goal for the Rebels. Walton in the backfield. Brunetti keeps it himself and is dragged down just inside the 5-yard line at the 4. It'll be third and goal coming up. Brunetti looks like he's going to stay in here on third down. And now Wallace comes back into the ball game. Mathers in the backfield. Third and goal, back at the 9.
They like to do this.
On a reverse, looking to throw it. Treadwell, and brought down at the 15. Nowhere to go. They got a little bit cute, and Georgia Tech stayed home. And now you bring in the place kicker, Andrew Ritter, and his shaky confidence, trying to attempt a field goal here. He's had a missed field goal and a blocked extra point. This one from about 32 yards out. To make it more than a one-score game deficit for Georgia Tech. And it's blocked again. Adam Gotsis, the 6'5" Australian, might have been the guy to get a hand on it. And it's still a one-score margin. Wow. Was it low, or was it a good defensive job? Boy, look at Gotsis extending.
Yeah, that's still low. If you're catching it on the way down with your jump, that ball has got to get up a little bit more than that. And these typically come back to sting you, and Hugh Freeze knows it.
On the end around. Fumble. Who recovered? A safety. Corey Dennis right there on your screen lost it, and it's a safety for Ole Miss.
If the offensive lineman was down in the end zone, in possession of the ball, behind his own goal line, safety.
What a huge swing.
Back-to-back plays where if they work, you look like a genius. But if they blow up in your face, they can be an utter disaster. And Dennis hasn't touched the ball today.
Wow. Recovered in the end zone by Georgia Tech. You're the expert, Brock. That looks like it's a high-risk type of play at that part of the field.
It is, and typically that strike zone's between the 40s. If you're off an interception or momentum play, you're staring at 1st and 15 in your own neck of the woods. As I said, with a guy that has not had many touches today, is not one of the focal points of your offense. If it works, you look like a genius.
At the 13. Oh, and jacked at the 35. A big hit on kick coverage by Bo Hankins. Now that'll clear your sinuses a little bit. 15 to go. Wallace coming out. Mathers in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the 35. Wallace keeping it. Took a hit right near that 1st down marker. He has done a nice job, Brock, of keeping it in that back's gut right until the last second, hasn't he?
He does a really nice job in the zone read here of carrying out that fake and that mesh point. Yeah, he's been very effective. He may not be a blazer. He may not be a complete game changer when he runs the ball. But he's done a really nice job. Watch him ride that mesh point. Because of that, the linebacker there, the senior Neely, gets a little flat-footed and a little horizontal, and Wallace makes him pay.
Wallace has run it 12 times for 90 yards today. They give him 91 now. Mathers on the run. Got about 2 on the play.
Right now.
2nd and 7. Georgia Tech perhaps looking to hear from a towel tree to make a play. They run it to his side of the field. And Walton out of bounds. Stops the clock with 3:21 to go and a 3rd down coming up.
Got to find a way to stay in bounds right there. If you're Walton, I know it's difficult and you're running into the boundary. And that clock does start, but there's some seconds there that you have got to continue to milk away if you're Ole Miss. We saw that in Albuquerque. That clock management down the stretch, so critical.
Attaboy, Joe, split to the bottom of your screen. Wallace looks the other way, comes over the middle, and Treadwell with the catch. And the 1st down, clutch play by the freshman to pick up 27.
And that is a big-time throw from Bo Wallace. These were the throws that helped Ole Miss beat LSU. And when you're in this system and you've got to hit a spot, and he throws that to a spot between 2 guys in coverage, and his buddy Treadwell, the Under Armour All-American, the #1 rated wide receiver a season ago in high school, he may have had a couple false starts, but he makes a huge play that may just close this one out.
That's how you get forgiveness with the coach.
That 3rd and 8 delay of game, by the way, was going to be a sack and off the field.
1st down and 10 as a result. From the 31. Walton stopped up right near the line of scrimmage. 1:40 to go. Georgia Tech with a singular timeout remaining to stop the clock. And Wallace brought down. Going to lose a few yards on the play.
Otsis has played a good game, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Couple block kicks and been active, and he's just a true sophomore and another fantastic story in this game.
30 seconds.
8 years as a Australian rules player. He saw a pamphlet while he was hanging out in Australia at 13.
3rd and 14. Mathers on the handoff.
I don't think you're going to attempt a field goal. What do you think?
No. No. Too many miscues in The kicking game today.
You're going to take this all the way down to somewhere in the 40-second range. Call a timeout. You'll try to pin them deep.
And now the Music City Bowl trending on Twitter and social media. A great day of college football here on the ESPN family networks. Texas coming up next in Mac Brown's finale against Oregon. 4th and 14, under a minute. And Georgia Tech is going to be down to its last gasp effort. And an 8-point deficit. And although Paul Johnson has been to 6 consecutive bowl games with Georgia Tech, it's been a struggle in getting victories in those 6 games. And this, unfortunately for him, running in that trending direction.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that conversation about extra bowl prep, and we asked him about it yesterday, and he said, frankly, hey, it's LSU, it's Iowa, it's some really good personnel. But I can't help but think it does help for an opponent to have extra time, to do 7 practices as Ole Miss did with live cutting drills, to get that extra work in. And really after that initial drive and the one big play, this Georgia Tech offense has had a hard time finding rhythm.
Came after the punter, Campbell. Oh, great effort. Fantastic, tireless effort. Are they going to give it to him or not? No, carried into the end zone. But a great effort nonetheless by Davis. Worthy of a little recognition.
Yeah, that ball crosses.
It only has to cross.
It is a touchback.
Couldn't tell, obviously, from our angle at the 50-yard line, but you love to see a guy play to the final whistle.
So Cody Pruitt, the All-American, knocked out of this game. He saw the one big play earlier from Georgia Tech. Your 2 safeties now, Trey Elston and company, have got to be deeper than the deepest. You cannot let anybody, if you're Ole Miss, run behind you.
1st and 10, no timeouts remaining for the Yellowjackets. Lee got rid of it in time, up for grabs and picked off at the 38-yard line. Golson. And that might just do it for the Rebels. They had some heat on Vad Lee.
It was DT Shackelford, and he's been a real problem for both running backs and this time left tackle Will Jackson, who gets the 15-yarder afterwards. And if you can't get any protection, you got no shot. Golson finishes it off, and here's a little bit of the back and forth to end it. It's a redshirt senior and his frustration teeing off at the end. Won't do anything.
And the Rebels are going to win this one. 25-17.
8-5, a whole lot different in Oxford, moving this thing forward. They need another recruiting class, more depth. And for Paul Johnson, tough way to end it. They just couldn't get it going like many of his bowl games, unfortunately.
So despite some of the absences and some of the adversity to start the game for the Rebels, they come out victorious, winning 25-17. Let's go downstairs to Jessica.
Well, Coach, you told your team before this game this would be the last paragraph of the 2nd chapter of your 2 years here at Ole Miss. What does that paragraph read right now?
Well, you know, a lot of people don't talk about it. Ole Miss has, I think, the longest bowl win streak in the nation, or at least tied for it. You know, we had a chance to put a stamp on our 2nd chapter, and we weren't happy with the way we ended the season, and we had a lot of adversity, a lot of issues and injuries and things, and our kids just fought their guts out against a good football team. I'm going to sit down and write that last paragraph tonight in my book.
You talk about that adversity. Bo Wallace comes in. He wasn't 100%, but he threw for over 250 yards, rushed to close to 100. What does that say about his adversity?
Well, he handles adversity very well, and quarterbacks go through it in this league, and he was so hungry to get back out and play again, and he prepared really well. Proud of the way he prepared.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
Bo Wallace leading his team to victory today. He said, hey, I need to play well. I can't let our seniors go out with 3 consecutive losses. He was true to his promise. Ole Miss wins it by 8. Coming up next, the Valero Alamo Bowl. Oregon taking on Texas. For Brock Heward and Jessica Mendoza, I want to wish everyone a happy new year, okay? Make it a safe one, too. Right now, back to the studio and John.